Let's talk about love. I mean, it's probably the one thing we've all spent a ton of time thinking about, right? It's the subject of pretty much every song, every movie, but what is it really? Is it just a feeling, a choice, some kind of contract? Well, today, we're going to dig into it.
And we're going to start with a pretty huge and maybe even uncomfortable question. Is all love, when you boil it right down, just a transaction? Are we all just trading, trading security for beauty or companionship for support in this big marketplace of human connection?
So here's one perspective that says, yeah, you bet it is. This view argues that love is built on a very clear set of conditions, even if we don't say them out loud. He provides a lifestyle, she provides beauty. He has expectations of her, she has expectations of him. In this model, love isn't some mystery, it's the result of a deal where both sides get what they want.
And then, on the complete other side of the universe, you've got this take. This is the super cynical view that says, the whole idea of romantic love, that pure, magical feeling, it's a total myth. It was just invented by advertisers to sell you stuff. And deep down, we're all just on our own, and love is the story we tell ourselves to make it feel less lonely.
Okay, so we've got two extreme, very powerful opinions here. And to really get our heads around this, to move past just having a gut reaction, we need to actually define our terms. We need a framework so we know what we're even arguing about when we say the word love.
So this whole debate really boils down to two opposing ideas. First, you've got conditional love. This is love you have to earn. It's got that big if attached to it. I'll love you if you get good grades, or if you never disagree with me. And then there's unconditional love. That's the ideal, right? The love that's given freely, no strings attached. It's supposed to be this rock-solid foundation no matter what you do.
And listen, this isn't just poets and philosophers talking about this stuff. Psychology has a name for it: conditional positive regard. It's a term from the legendary psychologist Carl Rogers, and it's the clinical way of saying that sometimes the acceptance and value we get from others depends entirely on us acting the way they expect us to. It's love with a list of rules.
So if this is a real, recognized psychological pattern, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where does it come from? How does this whole blueprint for love get built inside our minds in the first place?
Well, it turns out psychology gives us a surprisingly clear roadmap. There are actually three major theories that, when you put them all together, paint a really vivid picture of how these complicated patterns of conditional love get wired into us from day one.
Now, check this out, because this is where it all clicks together. Think of it like a three-part story. Attachment theory explains the beginning. Our very first relationships with our parents or caregivers create this internal working model, basically a blueprint for what love feels like. Then behavioral psychology explains how it's built. Affection is used as a tool, given as a reward, taken away as a punishment, to literally shape our behavior. And finally, humanistic psychology explains the result. We start to believe those rules ourselves. We internalize these conditions of worth, and suddenly there's this huge, painful gap between who we really are and the person we think we have to be loved.
Let's make this super practical. This whole operant conditioning thing sounds complicated, but you've seen it a million times. A kid brings home a perfect report card, and they're showered with hugs and praise. A partner just goes along with whatever you want to do, and they're met with so much warmth and affection. That love, that attention, it's a powerful reward. And it basically trains us to keep doing the thing that got us the reward. It's a simple system, really, where love becomes the currency for good behavior.
All right, so that's the theory. But so what? Why does any of this actually matter in the real world? What's the day-to-day impact of living in a world where you feel like you constantly have to earn affection? Well, the consequences are huge, and they can touch every single part of your life.
Because this is what it feels like to live it. It's that constant, low-level stress of walking on eggshells, just terrified you're going to say or do the wrong thing. It's that deep, paralyzing fear of failure, because you believe messing up doesn't just mean you made a mistake, it means you're not worthy of love. It's being a perfectionist, censoring yourself, and always having that voice in the back of your head telling you that you're just never quite good enough.
And all that internal pressure, that feeling of inadequacy, it absolutely takes a toll on our relationships. I mean, if you zoom out and look at the big picture, you see a number like this one. In the US, about half of all marriages end. Now, that doesn't mean love isn't real, not at all, but it does suggest that for a lot of us, the conditions of the relationship change over time. Our needs change, we change, and sometimes the whole deal just breaks down. It really challenges that fairy tale idea of a forever and always kind of love.
But here's the thing. This right here is probably the most damaging part of it all. Over time, you don't even need that critical parent or partner around anymore to enforce the rules. You internalize their voice. Your own mind becomes the parent,
constantly judging you, criticizing you, and holding you to those impossible standards. The prison guard is now inside your own head.
Okay, so it's really easy to come away from all this thinking, all right, I get it. Conditional love is the villain. End of story. But what if it's not that simple? What if this whole good versus bad fight is actually the wrong way to look at it? Maybe there's a much smarter, more useful way to think about love.
This is the big pivot, the key insight. The really important question isn't whether there are conditions in relationship, because let's be real, in any relationship between two humans, there are. The real question, the one that changes everything, is what kind of conditions are they? Are they healthy or are they toxic?
And the difference between these two is night and day. A toxic condition attacks who you are. It says your value as a human being depends on your success or your looks or your agreement with me. But a healthy boundary, that's totally different. It targets a person's behavior. It says, I value you, period. And for this relationship to work, for it to feel safe, we need to treat each other with respect. See the difference? One is about earning your worth, the other is about protecting the connection.
And that brings us to the ultimate goal. This is the model for a real, mature love. It's not one or the other, it's both. It's about having that deep, fundamental acceptance for who a person is, their core being, and combining it with clear, healthy, respectful conditions for how you relate to each other. It's a foundation of safety with some healthy rules of the road built on top.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. Maybe instead of asking, is the love in my life conditional or unconditional, a much more powerful question is, what are the healthy conditions, the clear boundaries, that make my most important relationships feel safe, feel respectful, and feel strong? Thanks for tuning in.